anybody is talking about finance, one statement that you always hear them use is the mindset of the rich. But a lot of time, they usually say it in this context that makes it sound like it's a buzzword, like that situation where you're just gisting with your friend, nothing too serious. But they forget to talk about the fact that you should be thinking of conscious, specific decisions that are being made, because it is going to be shaping a lot of things. Your wealth, your decisions around finance, your decisions around how your money is being played out in your day-to-day. But there's one aspect especially that I really want to talk about today, because the way it's played out in my life, it was such an interesting one. And I want to talk to you about how the rich leverage their wealth to build more wealth, because it was quite interesting how I'm using my leverage to build wealth. This is not talked about enough. We need to talk about it. So by the end of this video, you should understand what leverage is, the difference between good leverage and bad leverage, and how I'm applying this in my own journey to building wealth, where I'm starting small, not with millions, but I'm already taking the steps to building financial freedom for myself. Now let's get right into it. Hi guys, if you're new here, my name is Peace. I'm just a girl who shares a financial journey online. Why taking you along with me? Because why not? We need to build wealth together. So anything that can make that happen, anything that will make you take one step from your current situation to the next step, I'm your biggest cheerleader for that. If you're interested in anything like that, make sure to give me a like, subscribe to this channel for all good things, finance, money mindset, living your best life, living intentionally. Now let's get right into it. So in a recent video I made, which currently has 45,000 views on TikTok, I talked about how the rich leverage their wealth to build more wealth, and how I'm applying it in my day-to-day, currently leveraging my 9-to-5 salary to build wealth. Because I have talked several times about how I've used my active source of income right now to build several sources of income that right now I receive 2 salaries in a month, aside from the other ones which I reinvest without having to break it. Because what am I going to be using all those money to do? At least for my current state in life, I don't need all that money. So 2 salaries is enough, one for my treasury bills and one for my active income, which is like my salary at the end of the month. So imagine having that type of situation. I talked about that in depth on that video, and a lot of people had so much to say. But one thing I really noticed in those like conversations that came up from talking about leverage was the fact that most people equated leverage to debt, thinking that debt is a bad thing. I know, like, when you talk about concept of debt, what comes to your mind is loans and you having to repay back. But then you forget that you taking on this debt as a form of leverage to help you build something, scale up, or do something that is going to help your business move from one point to another is not always the case. Most people just, flat out say you taking debt is a bad thing. They don't talk about the fact that it is mostly used by the rich as leverage to scale up, to build more wealth, to go into industries that are not their usual forms of, business, because they have access to this money. They have built wealth over time. So why don't they leverage it to build more wealth? Now, before we go on to even talk about what is the types of leverage, let's first of all lay the foundation. What is leverage? Leverage is basically you using something that is not of your own to build something that eventually becomes yours. So think of this situation. One of the ways rich people build wealth and scale their wealth is by leveraging their current assets to build more wealth. So think of this in this situation. A rich person will go to the bank to say, I want so amount of loan, but for me to provide collateral, my collateral is going to be in this form. I have this asset that is currently valued as this. Because that my asset is going to continue to grow, it means that you have a collateral that is very substantial with you. So why don't you give me this loan at the cheapest interest rate? And the interesting thing is they get it, because they know that that asset you are bringing as a collateral is worth more than anything that they can ever offer you. They know that you are going to pay back. There's credit worthiness, there's reputation, there's so many things that are going to be playing out in the bank or whoever is loaning you favor. So they would happily give you this money. Now imagine Elon Musk wanting to buy Twitter. Elon Musk does not need to start looking for where to look up for the money or having to borrow money here and there. All he needs to use is his assets in Tesla as collateral to buy that current thing he wants to buy, maybe like Twitter or whatever else he wants to buy. So they are basically borrowing money against their own assets. That is why whenever I'm talking about building wealth, I am currently leveraging my 9-to-5 income to build more wealth. So that means that I have over the years taken the money that I'm earning in my 9-to-5, rather than eating it all at once, I have now decided to use it to buy into treasury bills, use it to buy into mutual funds, use it to buy into different places. And that is how I'm taking advantage of the leverage I have, my unfair advantage, if you might put it that way, to build more wealth. Now that means that I am not going to be thinking too much about where am I going to get money from, because I have over the years built up my assets, my portfolio in such a way that I can always use it currently, at least as a leverage, to go to an embassy to say, I have so assets, I have this, I have that, I want a visa to your country. Just know that this is a proof of my financial capabilities. This is a proof that I have something back home that I'm going to come back to. I'm not running away to your country. I'm basically just going to spend 2 weeks holiday there and I'm going to come back. That is leverage. Now that we know what leverage is, let's talk about the 4 types of leverage. One is financial, the second one is time, the third one is your skill, and the fourth one 1, network. Now let's talk about the first one, or let me give you an example of the first one. So think of this situation in Nigeria where people do ajo. You pull money together from people, and then because you know that you have this idea of investing in assets where you can invest the money and get daily returns rather than keeping it in the bank where it is yielding you next to nothing, you decide to carry that money and invest it, and then you can either decide to, at the end of the day, share the profit of the investment, or you decide what you consider morally right in that situation. But at the end of the day, I'm just saying that you are taking advantage of the money that was given to you to increase the value of that money. Whether you decide to share it or not, that is on you morally to decide. But taking advantage of something that is given to you financially, either as a loan, either as a job, either as any form of contribution that you can use to increase the value of that thing, that is a type of financial leverage. Now let's talk about time. Leveraging your time. Let me just go straight and give you an example. Before now, every Saturday I usually have to clean my house by myself. I found that was stressing me out. That was taking so much time from me. I did not have time to do any other thing. I come out of that experience feeling so tired. I have strength to do nothing anymore. So I decided to outsource this thing. If I tell you that right now, like the amount of time I've taken back for myself, not only am I drinking coffee, relaxing at that time, pressing my phone, just doing something that keeps me well rested against the thing I'm going to be doing later on. So I'm not feeling so tired at the moment because I am no longer doing that thing that used to take so much energy from me. But it now means that I had to spend money on that time, right? So I have decided to buy back my time. Creating systems around your day to day, it is you leveraging your time. The money that you're even spending is not even so much compared to the amount of energy that is taken away from you when you think about it side by side. Third leverage is your skill or your knowledge. Think of a skill that you have to just learn only once, but then the compounding effect of that your skill is enormous. You see people now learning data analytics, something that is trending right now, because they know that you only have to spend one time learning this thing, but the value you are going to be getting from that particular one skill over time is endless, depending on how you apply it anyway. But that is how you take advantage of your skill. That is using your skill or your knowledge as leverage. Now let's talk about the last one, your network. A lot of the time, we've heard of how people are always talking about sometimes your network will open doors for you where your money can't even smell, giving you that access. That is what network is. Leveraging your network. So you find that sometimes, even when you have all the degrees in the world, if you don't have the right network, your degrees is as good as whatever school you got it from, because it has not opened you any doors. Think of why you are building that your certificates and gathering all the certificates. Build networks alongside of it, because you can use that networks to open door faster for you. It's just that maybe now your certificate will be an added advantage. Just think of this situation. Maybe you are looking for a job. All of a sudden, an uncle or an auntie of yours just tells you that these people are looking for so degrees, but you already have it. That is a leverage. You get the job rather than the person who does not have that certificate that they are looking for. You get the idea of leverage here. So take advantage of the networks you have, even when people frown at it and make it seem like it's a bad thing. But because you even have the requirements of that situation that your network is going to help you with, that is something that nobody can take away from you, because if it was possible for everybody to do it, why did they not do it? So take advantage of the leverage you have. It is called an unfair advantage sometimes, but yes, life is kind of unfair most of the time. But you get the idea of what a network leverage is. Remember how I said at the beginning of this video that I saw leverage playing out in my day-to-day, that I did not really think about it all this while I was building something, but on this particular day I was just thinking about it. Oh, this is the same thing that rich people usually do, where they use their wealth to build more wealth, basically leveraging what they already have, their assets and all that, to build more wealth. So you now find this situation where they're always saying that the rich will keep getting richer, the poor will keep getting poorer, because obviously the rich are taking advantage of their leverage and using it to expand their wealth, while the latter is the case for the poor one. Now let's talk about my real-time experience, because this was quite interesting. So that morning I had come back from where I went to register for treasury bills in Zenith Bank, because like I said, I want to build a situation where I will have treasury bills running January, February, March, April, and I keep rolling it over yearly. So that now means that I will constantly be getting salary 2 times in a year, because aside from my 9 to 5 salary, that means the interest I'm going to be getting from treasury bills, whose interest is paid upfront, is my second salary. So that day I had just come back, I was just talking about how rich people usually build wealth with their wealth. So it was not like feeling very similar to my own situation, where I was using that treasury bills to expand my wealth. So basically, from having just a 9 to 5, because I don't have another job, but from having just a 9 to 5, I've been able to build treasury bills that is running from January to August. I have mutual funds, I have stocks, I have land banking, now digital products and all this. All this was made possible because I leveraged my first salary, like my 9 to 5 salary, after having to experience so many roller coasters with money at some point. But coming to this place where I am now, like I have done so much with my own money, it is so lovely to to see how far I have come. Basically, if you are going to take anything away from this, my personal story, it is to leverage that your active income to start building more wealth. Take out a portion, maybe create a financial plan of how your money is going to be running every single month. Maybe 100,000 naira, you remove it for savings, 100,000 naira for investment. This depends on how much you are earning anyway, but the idea here is to always have your savings and investments at the very top of your financial plan, budget, whichever one you call it, and then that means that you take care of those things first. You go down the financial plan in order of priority. So it means that you are already having savings, investments, and all that taken care of. Basically, you've paid yourself first. So when you now invest this money into those platforms, different platforms that are going to be paying you interest, you find that over the course of 8 years, which is the case for me now, I have built so much, even though that depends on your income anyways, but it means that I have leveraged my salary to come this far, and you too can do the same, because like I said, I want us to build it well together. So that is why I'm sharing with you everything that is currently working. If you are one that is still finding it hard to understand your finances, maybe you are trying to build something here and it feels impossible, click the link in the bio. Let's have a one-on-one talk. It is just for a token. It is very easy. We can talk. Let's build a financial plan for you, because that is what I love to do. Remember, I told you that by the end of this video, you understand what a good leverage is and what a bad leverage is. And this is the time where we talk about what a good leverage is versus what a bad leverage is, because if there's one thing you need to know, it is the fact that you don't just use anything and consider it as leverage. You have to think about it, good or bad. Is this leverage generating me more money over time, or is it costing me more money? Do I understand the specifics in using this leverage? Am I just using this leverage just because I want to fund my lifestyle, or am I trying to build something substantial here? For you to understand this in real life situation, so there was a time I had access to a loan in my organization, because when you get to a certain level, you get access to this particular loan. For the longest time, I was so skeptical about taking this loan. Everybody has made me think that this loan was the best decision ever, but I have always felt skeptical about it. But I just took one conversation with a friend that made me understand that this loan can actually be a source of leverage for me, a good leverage rather than a bad leverage, because when we calculated it, the interest is at 3% per annum. You get to spread it for as long as you can, like 15 years, depending on whatever you choose. When they say you are not really feeling it in your salary, but the good thing was that when I took this loan, you decide where to put it, that it can start generating you money. And the best course of action at that point for me to do was to carry that bulk of the money, put it into treasury bills. And if I tell you that before that 15 years goes by, I would have made 3 times that value of that money. That is what is considered a good leverage. So always think about it in that aspect. Is this leverage I'm taking on, is it going to be giving me more, or is it making me lose at the end of the day? Or is it going to burden me, or is it going to relieve me from stress? That is how you know what a good leverage is and a bad leverage is. So always think about that whenever you decide that, okay, you want to take on a particular leverage, whether in the form of loan, or whether in the form of leveraging your time or your assets or your skill or your network. I know that now that I've talked so much about leverage, to the average Nigerian ear, I'm still speaking so much English, because this money, they feel like for you to take advantage of whatever leverage you have, you need so much money. But we don't talk about the power of starting small. Take advantage of automating your savings. Let's say 1,000 naira a month is not a bad thing. All that matters is that you have started the journey in the first place. Like, creating habits is the hardest part, because once you have started, it is harder for you to stop, because it feels like there's something always pulling you to, you have to do this thing, you have to do this thing. So starting is the hardest part, or at least that is what I've seen, especially in my one-to-one session that I've had with so many people. If you can clear the hurdle of starting, you are halfway there through your journey. Just take advantage of starting small, whether it's 5,000 naira, whether it's 1,000 naira. There are so many investment options now that allow you to invest as low as 5,000 naira. You have the mutual funds, you have a high yield savings account, you have the government bonds. All these are ways that you can start small. Don't look down on starting small, because someone who builds like a snail is more likely to build something bigger than someone who decides to once jump in but then jump out just after that once. You get the gist of what I'm trying to say. So start small and build up as you go. So in all I've said, it is a matter of knowing that leverage isn't about having more, but it is about making the one that you have currently to work harder. That is whether leveraging your finances to give you more time, leveraging your network to give you an unfair advantage, leveraging your finances to build you or scale up whatever it is you're currently building. All these are ways that you can take advantage of the leverage you have. Don't just waste whatever form of leverage you have. Whether it is your beauty, take advantage of it, because if it will open doors for you, someone else that does not have that thing might be jealous, but oh well, like I said, life is unfair. So take advantage of that leverage you have, whether unfair advantage or leverage, whichever one you want to call it. All that matters is that you know what you want and you go for it. This is what I'm always saying whenever I tell you that, I use money as a tool to build the life I want. At the end of the day, money is just a tool. Adventure is the main point. You get the gist. So this is all I have to share with you guys today. This is how I'm using leverage to build wealth in my journey to financial freedom. I have come a long way and I've been bringing you guys along with me. So I hope hope you're enjoying these videos. These videos are giving you insights in how to start building wealth. If you did enjoy it, make sure to give me a like, subscribe to the channel for more videos like this, and I'll see you guys in my next one.